Coming up this hour, it is 7 days to the Joy News National Media Freedom Dialogue on defending media freedom ahead of the December general elections. Hello and welcome to Joy News Prime with me, Samuel Kojo Brazen. Our headlines this are: Ghana's properties abroad face possible liquidation as oil conglomerate Trafigura takes over the country's prime commercial property, Regina House in London, owing to government's failure to settle a $134 million judgment debt awarded by UK tribunal.
The property to GFTDC's solicitors until the debt is paid.
There's more unfolding as a fresh judgment secured by Trafigura GPGC in the United States of America places all other diplomatic properties at risk of liquidation. Details as Vice President of Imani Ghana, Bright Simmons, reveals that Trafigura deal was one of the cheapest Ghana had.
Here is where the problem arises. One, the power plant was not excessively expensive. On a per unit basis, the capacity charge or the capital recovery charge of 3.7 cents per kilowatt hour.
And also, WAEC postpones marking of BC scripts due to government indebtedness. Minority claim warning the ongoing WASI could suffer a similar fate.
WAEC had to postpone the marking of BC scripts from this month to September because they don't have the funds to do the coordination and marking.
It is emerging that Ghana's properties in the United Kingdom and America could be liquidated, even without recourse to any claim of sovereignty under international law. These revelations are coming at a time when Ghana's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Papa Osu Ankoma, has confirmed to Joy News that one of the country's prime commercial properties, the Regina House in London, has been taken over by Trafigura's Ghana Power Generation Company due to government's failure to settle a $134 million judgment debt awarded by a UK tribunal.
Charging order gives the management of the property to GFTDC's solicitors or property appointees until the debt is paid. They cannot even sell the property. They haven't even applied to sell the property to defray the judgment debt. So for him to allege that we've not been truthful to the people of the country is very, very unfair. I've never said that. So in the context of the application for charging order in respect of private property of the government of Ghana, and I have them here. It was in 6 Courtly Gardens, London, 109 Millway, London, Regina House, Cheapside, 42 Kenneth Crescent, London, and 24 Renal Avenue. And then when our solicitors asked us, as custodians of this property, what the properties were being used for, we said that the 4 properties, Courtly Gardens, Millway House, Regina, Kenneth Crescent, and Renal Avenue, were being occupied by employees of the government of Ghana who are diplomats. It was not be subject to any charging order. So to say that I said no properties were under threat, well, he is putting words in my mouth. That's not correct, and go further on saying that I would not be truthful to Ghanaians. It's not fair.
Now, for 4 years, Trafigura has tried to retrieve its payment without success, as the government of Ghana could only release $1.8 million as part payment of the lump, a reason which the private firm pressed forward new international arbitration charges against Ghana in the United States of America. Now, Joy News is learning of more explosive details in the judgment, where it is emerging that the Republic of Ghana expressly waived its own diplomatic and sovereign immunities in this deal with Trafigura's Ghana Power Generation Company. head of our diplomatic affairs desk, Blessed Sugar, has details on this.
Well, this case actually dates back to February 2018 when the government of Ghana decided to enter an early termination of a power purchase agreement with the oil conglomerate Trafigura. Now, the point is that the government of Ghana believed that it has excess power generation, a reason for which it felt that at the time when the NDC administration was signing on to this deal, which entered into President Akufo-Addo's regime, there was a review committee that, deemed the Trafigura intervention as unnecessary, a reason for which then the government proceeded to enter this early termination of the contract. But that then will accrue some cost to the state. Trafigura, in the year 2021, secured a tribunal ruling from the United Kingdom which upheld that Ghana was due to pay 134 million United States dollars, which is accruing as a result of the failure of the government of Ghana to respect the terms of the contract. It's the reason for which then the UK court decided to hand over or award this judgment in favor of Trafigura's Ghana Power Generation Company, which was to dismantle and move a power generation plant into the Republic of Ghana at a fee.
Meanwhile, Vice President of Imani, Ghana, says that Trafiguras require a more serious probe into reasons accounting for this judgment debt, recounting historical reasons for which the power purchase agreement was signed. Bright Simmons disputed government's reasons for terminating the contract, as he argues that the GPGC gave one of the cheapest rates in a power purchase deal compared to even new contracts signed by the current government.
Now here is where the problem arises. One, the power plant was not excessively expensive. On a per unit basis, the capacity charge or the capital recovery charge of 3.7 cents per kilowatt hour was very similar and in many cases lower than what we're charging or we're paying as capacity charge to other plants. And you can see on the screen a number of power plants that for all of these we're paying more than this plant was going to charge us.
Absolutely.
So I've given you examples of them. We're paying for Senate 4 cents on a capacity charge basis, Sen Power 5 cents, etc. And car power more than 5.6 cents. Secondly, the notion that we have excess power has itself been contested, as you know, because now we know the government is still signing these power deals.
Right.
And around the time we were still signing these power deals, there are companies like AXA that have already signed another deal very recently to put a power plant in Kumasi, Naumaso, etc. So these were questionable. The energy but here is where it gets important, and this is why we have a judgment debt. The analysis on which the decisions were made were shoddy and flawed. The Energy Commission Executive Secretary, for instance, suggested that terminating the plant would cost the country about $80 million. But he hadn't done his due diligence. He hadn't actually looked at the full range of costs that were being incurred.
Now joining this conversation via Zoom is private legal practitioner Yakubu Pinto. I'm grateful to you for joining us. Now, do we all get the sense that, our properties are at risk of being liquidated, but what should the government do to prevent the liquidation?
The government, not only Ghana government, I'm talking about parties litigation. They always have an option to negotiate, to discuss, to reach agreement outside the court. What we call it right now, Ghana government has lost the case, that is to say, the matter in court before it went to I'm talking about arbitral tribunal. The orders have already been made, and what I understand is that they are going into execution. So at the execution stage, the only thing they can do without prejudice to the rights of the judgment creditor is for the parties to reach some agreement. And in any case, I need to clarify the reason for such, agreement is the fact that getting judgment, getting orders of court do not themselves, give you what you are looking for. In other words, the procedures to go through in order to sell, because as the High Commissioner was saying, there are even tenants and so forth and so on. So it's a very complex procedure. But as between Ghana as a sovereign country and the judgment creditor, there is always room for them to reach all kinds of terms of settlement, either with regard to, the tranches in which these payments will be made, waivers, cost, all of them. There's a whole room for all kinds of things. So they need not necessarily end with the sale of the attached properties. I cannot really tell you all the several opportunities that are available between a judgment debtor and a judgment creditor, especially a sovereign judgment debtor like a country, like Ghana as a country. So there are all kinds of options.
Okay.
There are all kinds of options.
But
I cannot specifically pinpoint which one they may reach, but I can assure you.
Even though we have options, we've not been able to, pay, and that's why our properties have now been attached, and they've taken over one of such. So yes, we have options, but we are not making use of those options.
Yeah, but that's reflect the reality of the situation in which we live. Because with respect, this appears to have been motivated more by a political decision to terminate this agreement than possibly, please, I don't speak to the actual facts, but I've listened to a few people and I get the impression that a new government had come into office and possibly had reviewed agreements on the table and concluded that some of these agreements did not meet certain criteria and so forth and so on. So that may still be the spirit guiding the government's effort. But then one judgment has been given, or an arbitral award has been made in the manner that we are talking, Ghana's options are very limited. That is one thing that I can say, very limited. And therefore, as we say in Ghana, whether you like it or yes, you still have to find room for further negotiations with a view to settling that judgment debt. That judgment debt has now come to sit on Ghana's neck, and there's absolutely nothing. We cannot wave it away, we can't wish it away, and we cannot pretend it does not exist. So Ghana government may, and please don't forget that the company is also a business entity. I do not know, but obviously there are all kinds of arrangements by which this company may benefit from certain further deals, further contracts, further agreement, and so forth and so on. I don't speak for anybody, but as a lawyer, I'm looking at various options and possibilities that's in the real economic world for a judgment creditor and a judgment debtor. Part of the judgment debt may be waived and so forth and so on. But it requires. I'm
grateful to you, Lawyer Kweku Pento, for joining us tonight with your thoughts. Now, away from this story, the minority in Parliament say the West Africa Examination Council, WAEC, has postponed the marking of BEC scripts due to lack of funds caused by government indebtedness. As of June, the government owed the examination body 300 million cedis for services rendered between 2022 and this year. Addressing journalists in Parliament, ranking member on the Education Committee, Peter Nochu Kotwe, demanded that the government settles its debt immediately before the academic calendar is thrown out of sync.
As we speak now, WAEC had to postpone the marking of BEC scripts from this month to September because they don't have the funds to do the coordination and marking, which we call post-examination activities. They still owe WAEC for the BEC, and we are demanding that government pays this money to WAEC so that they can organize the marking in time. As a result, the school calendar is going to be disrupted again. Those who are to go to SHS this September will be at home. They will not be able to go. So we are asking government to release money to WAEC as urgently as they can so that the marking can take place.
Now, speaking of debt, the minority says the government still owes the supplier of the tablets the government is distributing to senior high school students. According to Peter Nochukoto, the supplier is currently struggling to settle loans he contracted to deliver on the contract.
The minority put out a news release that government was owing suppliers of various items, including food items, stationery, tablets, and all that to the tune of over 6 billion Ghana cedis. At the launch of the manifesto, they mentioned that they had distributed 900,000 tablets to senior high schools. Where you are not prepared for it, you don't have any budgetary allocation, and you go into it, you create problem for the suppliers. We know that 1,350,000 tablets were procured, and the supplier had to look for a loan in dollar-denominated cedis. He has been denied payment for a very long time now, and we don't know why government is refusing to pay. You are killing the business of the supplier.
Now, the Kibu Renal unit will soon run at optimum efficiency with the procurement of 30 new dialysis machines. In an interview with Evan Smith, the chief executive of Kibu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Opokunware Ampoma revealed that the government has settled the $4 million debt which had contributed to the unit's challenges. He apologized to renal patients for the recent shutdown of the unit.
To settle our obligations because the government came through and paid that $4 million deficit and that we had. That was, affecting the supply chain, in that way. But you also know that that $4 million deficit was accumulated because we prioritized patient care over making profit. So we continue to provide free service for the patients during COVID when the sponsorship that we're getting was not coming through. But then, so afterwards, although the sponsors made good the amount, because we changed into foreign exchange to buy the consumables, the foreign exchange losses was what caused the $4 million deficit. But then that has been rectified. We won't receive that. That's how can we be able to open the dialysis service again. So we want to apologize for the inconvenience that was caused. They are procuring 30 new dialysis machines for Kibu. And the good thing about these machines is that they use the open system. The ones that we've been using originally in Kibu are the closed system. So it means you can get the consumables from only one source. And so when there's a problem with that supply chain, then you have a bit of a problem. And unfortunately, they were the best brand at the top of the range. And so our patients also testified the fact that this is those are, when they go on the machine, the effect is very significantly far better than what they get elsewhere. And so that's why we're using them. But then there are now other equally good brands available which use the open system. And so fortunately, these new machines that are going to be brought in use the open system. And so that will now give us more degrees of freedom in terms of where we can procure the supplies from. It means that we also get more competitive prices. And then it will also reduce the waiting time for our patients, because you can imagine that we have 10 machines, we have more than 230, we have between 230 to 300 patients coming in for dialysis services, and each person will go on the machine for about 4 hours. So you can imagine, the kind of queue and the kind of backlog that results in that. So these machines will immediately augment our capacity tremendously, and will also enable us to reduce the queues and make it more convenient for our patients. And then the other thing also is that it means that access to emergency dialysis also immediately increases, because if a patient is rushing in an emergency, it means there's a machine available immediately to put them on.
Now, friendship knows no barrier, not even disability. At the University of Ghana, Felicity Wedeva Ajure and Esther Boadu are proving just that. Despite the former's short stature and the latter's visual impairment, their bond is unbreakable, and together they navigate life with resilience and joy. Their inspiring story is a demonstration to the power of friendship and determination, showing all of us that disability is not a limitation but a unique strength. Emmanuel Jevenu of our education desk has more in Joy News' latest series, This Abled.
My name is Felicity Ajay-Redaba. I'm a person living with disability called achondroplasia. I'm unique and special in all my ways and aspects.
Felicity moves her hands with dexterity as she applies a cold patch to her bicycle tire. Her bicycle is a lifeline, not just for herself, but for her friend Esther Badu, who is visually impaired.
When I came to the University of Ghana, I could see that mine was a little bit tough because some of them couldn't see. I thank God for my life, and then I was like, God, I didn't know that my problem was not as much as compared to others. I think I could help them because I can see.
When I came, I was always in my room. I was like, so how am I going to mingle with people? You know, stigmatization and stuff. When I met Felicity, I was like, wow. I've met, although she's also a person with disability, but she's helping me a lot.
And so began a friendship. Every day, Felicity and Esther navigate the sprawling campus together. As Felicity rides, Esther holds her shoulder, guiding her friend to their lecture halls.
Every time I have to help her out by sending her to the lecture halls and all that. It has been a very difficult task for us, but I still insist of helping her.
The photography of the land is not favorable to us. There are gutters, holes, steps and stuff, and she's using her bike. So when we get to gutter, we have to, because she has to get down and help her. I'll help her with the bike, carry it to cross the gutter before we continue. When there are steps, she has to get that. It's stressful.
Their bond extends beyond the classroom. They study, cook, and share laughter during their leisure time.
I think that maybe coming in contact with them, they will actually be infected and other stuff. So I decided to be friends with her in order to give her a helping hand.
Their friendship is reciprocal.
When she's going to buy something, she'll be like, Esther, please. And I said, Felicity, how can I visually impaired be? I said, she said, no, I don't care. Let's move together. We move together. So anyway, so I really like, there is this friction between the two of us. Yeah.
Their shared moments of joy and mutual support paint a beautiful picture of what friendship truly means.
I want to be a journalist because I've not seen people giving news like me. And for that matter, I would like to use the power of the microphone to advocate for persons living with disabilities.
I want the whole world to know of our friendship, a visually impaired and a person living with achondroplasia, being besties.
Despite the challenges, Felicity and Esther are determined to succeed in their academic pursuit and hope their friendship will inspire others, as well as highlight the need for better support for students with disabilities. Emmanuel Jevenu, Joy News.
My God will always.
Oh, this is an inspiring story. A wonderful one there. And away from that, driven by the harsh realities of poverty in the north, many young girls are forced to migrate to Accra, where they become headquarters, popularly known as Kayaye. In Accra, they face a new set of challenges, sleeping outside because they cannot afford rent, enduring harsh living conditions, and living in constant fear of being targeted by rapists. In our latest episode of Just Turned 18 show, these girls are demanding jobs and improved conditions in the north from the various political parties as the December 7 polls approaches.
You sleep outside and the truck boys or the foolish guys, they will come and rape you. And if they rape you and you are pregnant, where will you get money to even go and do? How to even get food and eat is a problem for you.
Let me come to you, Arama. Is that the same? Have you experienced it yourself? Yes. I was having a friend I was living with, but because I don't have money, they sacked me. I was sleeping outside. One day they tried to rape me, but I escaped.
I used my pan as a room. I sat on my pan and I used my cloth to cover myself. As if that I'm sleeping, but I'm not sleeping. My waist, I'm just scared. I just feel pains on my body, but I use that place that place is my house. So when I'm doing that, I sat there. When it was night, I see some people come around me. I don't know what they are there for, because and I'm only one girl there. When I see the boys there, I think that they want to do me something, and I'm afraid that when I just see them, I'm afraid. I'll just get up and I'm walking over there to someone over them. So when I'm calling the person name, I just walk out. When I just get them, when I get some space there, I run away and leave my pan and leave my everything there, because I'm afraid what they are thinking to do to me is no good. I know that if not they want to kill me, it's like they want to rape me, because I'm afraid. I lost my pan. How to get it to is difficult for me.
Right. So from the conversation we've had so far, it looks like none of us wants to be kayayos. We wish that we were going to school. Even if not school, we wish we had better job opportunities. So I'm going to come to all of us to find out, how can we be helped?
The government to provide some works at our place so that we will not come here to come and be doing the kayayo again.
They have introduced 2 hostels for kayayers, and they're also training over 5,000 people. They've started with 500. Isn't that good news for you? And does that work, or do you still want more?
We still want more. They should create jobs so that if you are not going to school, you can be employed there doing small, so that you get some money.
We want job. We really want it. But some of us too, we want to further our education, and we want to be maybe nurse, and we look, we take care of our parents.
Now, MEDA's Greater Role Opportunities for Women 2 project and the Department of Agribusiness at the University of Development Studies, Faculty of Agriculture, Food and Consumer Science have held the first ever Inclusive Finance and Impact Investment Forum for Agribusiness Women in Tamale. The platform brought together stakeholders in the finance and investment landscape to advance the investment challenges, opportunities, network, explore emerging trends for women-led businesses in the agribusiness area. The forum was held in Tamale, the Northern Regional Capital.
The forum brought together women-led agribusiness owners from the Upper West, Savannah and Northern regions to engage with other investors, development partners, among others, on how to move their businesses. Speaking in an interview with Joy News, MEDA's country project manager for Growth 2 project, Francis Asuman, said most of the women in agribusiness sector face challenges, with the topmost being finance.
We work with women agribusinesses, and we realize that over the course of time, as we work on the project, the women agribusinesses that we are working with face a lot of challenges. One of the major challenge that they face is on the access to finance.
Senior lecturer at the Department of Agriculture of the Faculty of Agriculture, Food and Consumer Science, Dr. Richard Yeboah, said the collaboration is very important for the sustainability of the gains made.
Growth 2 is a project, and in some few years' time, they'll come to an end. But this kind of interaction, networking, must continue, and for sustainability, UDS will carry it on.
Some agribusiness owners shared their expectations.
For me, I think that it's an eye-opener. It will go a very long way to broaden the horizon in the field for us.
If entrepreneurs are supported with what we do, we source the product from the farmers. So at least they will also be able to generate income to take care of their children.
Earlier, the opening ceremony, the Senior Regional Director, MEDA West and Central Africa, Dr. Pierre Cadet, said financial inclusion of smallholder farmers remains a challenge. Therefore, the project is to help address some of these challenges.
Financial inclusion of women smallholder farmers in particular remains a challenge, particularly in relation to access to formal financial services. It is against this background that this forum is crucial to discuss the various ways and strategies that can help improve financial inclusion and impact investing in ways that will also benefit women smallholder farmers.
The Northern Regional Director for Agriculture, Ajia Hawa Musa, acknowledged that more needs to be done in the agriculture sector.
A lot more needs to be done, particularly when we consider the fact that majority of women-led agribusinesses in northern Ghana are struggling, desperately requiring financial and other essential support to be able to survive.
This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please do stay. Well, Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, also by the Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, and Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development. And tonight, the Institute of Economic Affairs has set the stage for presidential candidates to convince electorate through a debate. According to the IEA, this year's debate is not different from the previous ones it has organized. Speaking at the inauguration of the 9-member debate committee, former Chief Justice of Yakubu said the debate will offer electorate the opportunity to have an informed decision based on the intended policies and ideas of the presidential candidate.
Specifically, the debates aim to achieve the following core objectives: to provide a unique platform for presidential candidates to outline their policies and vision of governance for the country, to inform and empower citizens to make informed decisions at the elections, to promote issue-based electioneering campaigns devoid of personal attacks and rancor, and to promote peace before, during, and after the elections. Democracy is truly exercised when the electorate is knowledgeable and well-informed. Hence, this 6th edition of the IEA pre-election debates series will once again serve the same purpose of adequately informing the electorate of the intended policies and programs of the candidates for the high office of President and Vice President.
Well, the National Democratic Congress in the Old Tafo constituency has vowed to take legal action against Deputy Secretary of the New Patriotic Party in the area for allegedly making false claims against NDC's parliamentary aspirant Samuddin Mohammed Kamil on a Kumasi-based radio station. The MPP's Frederick Frank Dankwa is alleged to have accused Mr. Kamil of deceiving voters by claiming that Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, the MPP's flag bearer, endorsed him solely because they share the same Muslim faith. Constituency Secretary for the NDC, Abubakar Sadiq, labels the accusations as, quote, unequivocally false and malicious, unquote, attempt to tarnish their candidate's reputation and mislead voters.
The Deputy Secretary accused our candidates of dishonesty and propagated baseless allegations, tarnishing his image and credibility.
Constituency Secretary for the NDC, Abubakar Sadiq, has denied the accusations made by Frederick Dankwa.
It seems evident that they, along with their parliamentary candidate, Eko Vincent Esefua, lack a substantive message for the resident of Otafo constituency.
Abubakar emphasizes that the NDC campaign in the constituency has been built on a foundation of honesty and integrity.
Throughout our campaign and tenure, we have consistently upheld honesty and integrity. Our engagement with constituents has been centered on policy discussions, development and inclusive representation, devoid of religious or divisive rhetoric. The Deputy Secretary's statement is just not an attack on our candidate's personal integrity. It is an attack on the very fabric of our democratic process.
The NDC is demanding a formal retraction and apology from Frederick within 1 week, warning of legal action if he fails to comply.
The Deputy Secretary's defamatory marks not only impugn our candidate's character, but also undermine the democratic process and fair competition in electoral campaign. Therefore, we demand an immediate retraction of the false statement and an unreserved apology issued publicly. Should the Deputy Secretary fail to retract the defamatory statement and issue a formal apology within a week after this press conference, we reserve the right to pursue legal recourse to our candidate's reputation and seek appropriate remedies under the law.
A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
Now, the Northern Regional Chairman of the National Democratic Congress has accused the New Patriotic Party of frequently initiating projects without securing the necessary funding. Adolf Ali criticized Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is also the NPP's flag bearer, for what he described as, quote, a penchant for cutting swords, unquote, without following through on these projects. Speaking during a visit to Lamoshegu Exhibition Center as part of his tour of voter exhibition centers in the region, he contrasted the leadership of former President John Mahama with that of Dr. Bawumia, saying whilst Ghanaians can trust John Mahama to deliver on his promises, the same cannot be said about Dr. Bawumia.
The NDC Regional Chairman visited the Tolong, Saviligu and Kumbungu constituency. He also visited some centers in the Tamale metropolis to assess how the exhibition exercise was taking place and to appeal to his party members to ensure they check for their names. At the Lamashegu Primary Exhibition Center, the Northern Regional Chairman, Adolf Ali, said whilst Ghanaians can trust former President John Dramani Mahama to deliver on his promises, similar cannot be said about Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He said Ghanaians know what Mr. Mahama is capable of doing, adding that one can never tag the former president as a liar.
I didn't know that the suffering was even going to get to this extent. It's terrible. If 1 cedi to almost 4 cedis, if $1 to almost 4 cedis was incompetence by the then government. So now that it is $1 to almost 16 cedis, $1 to almost 16 cedis, how will you call such a government? The most useless government I have ever seen. Very, very useless. This is the first time the dollar has risen that far ever since independence. Unless somebody can prove me wrong. He's not ashamed. And so he has now run away from defending the economy. He has become an ITC specialist in charge of digitalization. That is Bawumia for you. And such a person, he still has the moral courage. If not because he thinks that the longer they are there, the more they will be covering their corrupt activities. Such a person has no moral justification to come out to contest even parliamentary election, left alone.
Now, the Upper West Regional Minister, Ambassador Stephen Yakubu, says road construction equipment provided under the District Road Improvement Program is meant for community road projects, not for personal use by politicians. He emphasized that the equipment, which will be fueled by government, should be used only for projects that benefit the community. Ambassador Yakubu spoke while handing over the first batch of equipment to metropolitan and district assemblies in the Upper West region. Rafik Salam reports from Wa.
The 11 municipal and districts in the Upper West region have been allocated a total of a little over 100 units of the state-of-the-art road equipment. Upper West Regional Minister, Ambassador Stephen Yakubu, noted that the equipment has arrived at a critical time given the deteriorating state of roads in the region. The Upper West region has one of the worst roads in the country that give nightmares to commuters or at worst killing or maiming them.
We still have a lot of problems with our roads. And you know, Upper West here is a basket, fruit basket of the country. So we need to make sure that every farm, every village, every hamlet, there is, a way to get access roads to get there. And that is exactly what we want to do. What we have now, I've decided to integrate what we have and then distribute them to the assemblies. Whilst they are working, there's no time to waste at all. I'm not going to allow the machines to be sitting here. From today, immediately after here, we're going to put them to the assemblies and they will start work.
He reaffirmed that the program is genuinely driven by community needs and not by the fiat of any politician.
So money is going to come from the central point so that we fuel them, pay the drivers, the operators, I would say, and then they will go on any route that the community wants constructed. Any road that the community wants. This is going to be a community-driven thing. It's not going to be that a politician sits here because his house is here. No. It's a community-driven thing.
Dean of Municipal and District Chief Executives, Isagotari Momin, on behalf of the group, expressed their appreciation to the President, stating that the equipment will greatly assist in improving the region's roads.
I think this is a game changer. It is something that has never happened before, and I'm sure that the benefits will be, will drive the benefit from, implementation.
Reporting for J News, Rafik Salam. Wah.
Time for us to do Showbiz, and Becky Bex is here with all the gist that you need. Hi, Becky. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How you doing?
I'm good.
This evening, we have an exclusive interview coming all the way from Nigeria, done by my colleague KMJ. Exclusive with Chidi Mokeme. So he's a Nigerian actor, and he's been talking about his role in Shantytown, the movie series. I'm not too sure you've seen. Have you seen the Shantytown? It was all over the place.
Yes, it was. I think it was on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it was, and it's still on Netflix.
Okay.
And his movie career as a whole. That's my colleague KMJ with that exclusive interview coming all the way from Nigeria. But this evening, let's stay on movies and talk about. This is the very first official trailer for a psychological thriller starring Ajete Anand Sika. So on November 1st, we will have that particular movie. I'm sure that you cannot wait for.
Yeah, I love a lot of the actors in there. And the fact that it's coming from Lynx
Entertainment.
I'm enthused about moving from music to movies. Yeah,
I love it too. I mean, this evening it looks like we've moved a lot from the music industry, and we're in the movie industry now. Let's move to the comedy industry. So the face behind the quote the New Falls billboards has been unveiled, and it happens to be a comedian, contrary to speculations that it could be a political figure. The unveiling was done during a press conference on Thursday at Grand Kasamura in East Legon. In Accra, Lexi, the comedian behind the artwork, is preparing for his latest comedy special after successfully proving his mettle in the comedy industry for the past 11 years.
So I think you guys were expecting some political figure. It's actually a comedy show I'm about to stage. And since we are in the political dispensation, I think that's the only way I can get you guys to come and pay me the attention I need. Thank you guys for coming. But before I do that, one thing about comedy is telling the truth in a funny way. People laugh and still reflect about the message you conveyed. And looking at the dispensation we find ourselves now, there is a lot of tension, political tension, and I think there is a lot of truth we need to speak to power, but nobody can actually do that if a comedian doesn't do it, because now if you say it in a way, they might say you are picking sides. But comedy is the only tool we can actually make people laugh while they still reflect about the truth. So that is why this particular project is about to be staged. And on
So I am particularly excited for this one. I will be there. I would love to see what Lexi has for the whole Ghana, especially in this political dispensation. Now that we're in an election year, we're all, you know, looking for somebody who can speak truth to power. That's what he's saying, that's what he'll be doing through comedy. So I'm very excited. I know you're excited. You might not even attend the event.
Oh, no,
but
no.
We'll bring you.
I will be there because usually FVV usually does sponsor this. So if FVV is doing it, of course I'll be there.
You'll be supporting as well. So we'll be looking forward to that. And that's all for this evening's news. We're grateful that you could join us. Please make sure that you brush your teeth with Pepsodent this evening. When you're going to bed, when you wake up tomorrow morning, for those of you who love me, please brush your teeth with Pepsodent when you wake up, because with Pepsodent,
every smile matters.
When you log on to myjoyonline.com, that's where you find all the news. Please go to the entertainment segment there on My Joy Online. That's where you find everything show business. We mean business.
All right. Now, Winston Taki is up next with Prime Business, so do stay tuned. Thanks for sharing your time with us.
Bye.